Week 17 of the fantasy football season, and here's top 12 kickers I'm ranking this week. Number 1, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Butker on a top offense this season. I know the last couple weeks he's been hit or miss at the field goal position, hitting a few field goals, missing a few. But this week here versus the Denver Broncos, I think we're going to see a lot of opportunities for him. It's a ball game at Arrowhead where he kicks better at home than he does on the road. And this week here, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see the Chiefs score in this one anywhere from 30 to 40 points, and Harrison Butker have a big game. Number 2, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. I know the last few weeks here, Tucker, he's missed a few field goals have been blocked. But this week, Baltimore back home, and this is a good division ball game that Baltimore obviously wants to win and put the Steelers away once and for all, where they got a little opportunity to make the playoffs. So right here, Justin Tucker, we know he's had big moments versus the Steelers in his career. We know he's one of the most accurate kickers in all NFL history. And this week here, I think he gets back on track where the weather should be a little bit better than it was last week. And I got him at 2. Number 3, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. So Tyler Bass, another guy the last few weeks with bad weather and heavy winds where he was struggling to kick the ball. But we know Bass is one of the best kickers in the league. I think he just has to take a step back and get things going. And this week here on Monday Night Football in a big ball game at Cincinnati here for our tops of the AFC here, Tyler Bass, I think he's going to get back on track in this one. He's going to get a few opportunities. The Cincinnati defense, I know, has played better over the last few weeks here, but I think they'll be in the red zone a decent amount of time still is this high-powered Bills offense. And Tyler Bass, I think, will be decent and be number 3. Number 4, Cameron Dicker of Los Angeles Chargers. So right here, this Charger offense hasn't been all that great over the last few weeks in terms of scoring touchdowns, and that's been giving Dicker more opportunities for field goal chances. So this week back home versus the Los Angeles Rams, I think he's going to get a few opportunities. This Ram defense still could go out there and put in a good game, and it could be a game where they're going to have to settle for field goals. Once again, is this Charger offense. For whatever reason, the last few weeks, Justin Herbert, the accuracy hasn't been great, and he's been throwing a couple interceptions. So right now, that could play in the hands of Cameron Dicker, getting more opportunities where they stall out in the red zone. So I got him at 4. Number 5, Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. So Daniel Carlson's had a solid season this year here with 8 double-digit fantasy point games. And this week here, it's going to be a ball game where he's probably going to have to settle for a lot of field goals. Derek Carr pulled from the starting lineup. We'll see what Stidham has, but I don't think we're going to see much out of him either. And I think this Raider team is just going to take what they could get versus San Francisco 49er defense. So that's a few field goals I think Carlson's going to attempt. He's a better kicker at home than he is on the road. And obviously always a great thing that you're indoors as a kicker, and that's what he is this week. Number 6, Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. Talking about a kicker who's better at home and indoors than he is on the road. So Younghoe Koo and the Falcons back home this week versus the Arizona Cardinals. We know this Cardinal defense last week played a pretty decent game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I think Younghoe Koo in this one's going to get a few opportunities. This Atlanta offense doesn't have a lot of dynamic pieces besides maybe Drake London and Tyler Algier. And Desmond Ridder, we don't know what he could do really at the quarterback position. So I think Koo in this one will get 2 or 3 opportunities. And he's pretty much been money at the bank at home this season here, scoring double-digit fantasy points a ton of times this year. Number 7, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been a weird second season here for McPherson. Started off slow, then in the middle weeks he picked it up and had some monster games. And now the last few weeks with bad weather or just bad concentration, he hasn't gotten the job done. But this week here versus the Buffalo Bills, it's a big ball game for Cincinnati. The Bengals are back home after the last couple games on the road here. And I think Evan McPherson, he's going to get it together in this one. He's going to regroup, and he knows he's got to make some big field goals in a big AFC matchup versus Buffalo. So this week here, he's on a high-powered offense. Opportunities are going to still be there, and he just has to put them through the upright. This week, number 8, Graham Gano at the New York Giants. And Graham Gano, he's had another solid season for a Giant team that don't score a lot of touchdowns. If it's not Saquon Barkley punching it in, no one else is really doing anything on this offense. We know they've had trouble finding receivers this season, but now I think they got a decent nucleus with Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, who stepped up, and even Richie James has been decent this season. But this week here versus the Indianapolis Colts, I think this Colt defense will bend but don't break, like they did a lot last week where Dicker had to settle for a few field goals. So I think Graham Gano in this one will have to settle, and I got him at 8, and I wouldn't be surprised if he could hit double digits once again. Number 9, Matt Gay the Los Angeles Rams. So Matt Gay last week, a monster fantasy game. We know the Rams, they're not going to score 51 points once again, but right here, it's their home stadium. It's a road game this week in their home stadium with the Chargers, who obviously share the same stadium. So Matt Gay, he's been an accurate kicker over the last few seasons, and the last few weeks' opportunities just haven't been there until last week. So this week, I think they'll be there, the opportunities. This Charger defense, they've been playing better over the last few weeks, but I still think the Rams can get enough chances in the red zone here. And you don't think the Rams want to win this ball game with two LA teams going at it? There's no way they don't. So I think Matt Gay in this one has a decent game, and I got him in 9. Number 10, Michael Badgley of the Detroit Lions. So the Lions finally back at home here after the last couple ball games on the road. And right now, Michael Badgley, he's been a good kicker at home this season. Indoor game, obviously, for this Lion team. And this Lion offense, one of the better offenses when they're at home this season. So I think they could easily put up anywhere from 24 to 35 points in this game. I think Badgley will get a few opportunities, and he's been a good signing this season here by this Detroit Lion team. So this week, I got him at 10. Number 11, Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. So Jason Myers, he got off to a monster start early in the season with the first 7 out of 8 ball games, double-digit fantasy games. But this week here, it's a matchup versus the New York Jets, a bend but don't break type of defense, and a Jet defense that's been in a lot of games this season where the field goal kick is on both teams start putting up points. I think this week Jason Myers have a good opportunity for at least 8 fantasy points. Like I said, this Jet defense, they don't give up a lot of touchdowns, but teams do get a decent amount of field goal opportunities. So right here, I think Myers will get 2 or 3 opportunities, maybe a few extra points, and I got him at 11. And the 12th and final kicker I'm ranking this week here is Brett Maher of the Dallas Cowboys. So the Cowboys go to Tennessee here tonight on Thursday Night Football. And Maher, we know he's been a pretty good kicker this season, but for the most part, his better games have been at home than they are in the road. Indoor stadium, obviously, for the Dallas Cowboys, and also the home field advantage. But this week here, going to Tennessee, we'll see how the weather plays out. Well, Maher, he's a guy that can kick the football from 60-plus yards. We've seen him do it a few times over the last few seasons. Accuracy's definitely been a problem for him. You're on a high-powered offense. And this week here, I got him at 12. So the top 12 kickers I'm ranking here for Week 17 of the fantasy football season.